Hey, everybody, we are at the Westwood Public Library, so we are outside on the patio, which is beautiful if you've never been here. Harper Morrison, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Fantastic. I'm looking forward to this conversation, but I am setting the stage for our listeners. You might hear some sirens. You might hear some Tresca trucks. That's just par for the course when we do a conversation here outside of the library. But, Harper, first of all, I need to apologize. I didn't know how great you were as an athlete, and there's a lot of exciting things on your plate moving forward. And can I tell the story about how I heard through Brady, like the details? Should we share the facts?
Go ahead.
All right. So you remember that Brady, Dumais, and Sean Blomquist were our athletes of the month for July. And so the two of them were at a graduation party with me. And I said, hey, are you the two that have the most varsity letters in the class of 2025? And they said, I don't know. We got 7. Let me check. And then literally 10 minutes later, Brady rolled up with Harper at his side and said, nope, she wins. How many varsity letters did you get?
I have 12.
Yeah, hello. So 12 varsity letters certainly qualifies you, and you are on your way to Longwood to play soccer. So a lot of questions I have for you, including some questions about Longwood. But first of all, congratulations. I mean,
Thank
what
you.
a fantastic high school career. And just give me your thoughts as you summarize your experience at Westwood High, what it was like to be engaged in athletics for that many seasons at that high a level.
It was so much fun, especially as a freshman. All of playing sports with such amazing and talented athletes was really I learned so much those years, and then being able to carry that on into my senior year and junior year to share my wisdom that I learned from everyone else along the way was really special.
So to set the stage, Harper was a stud soccer player, was also on the diving team, and then wrapped up her spring season each year with the track team where you were a sprinter. So when you say sprinter, what distances are we talking about?
I mainly ran the 200 and the 4x100 relay.
All right. So what are the marquee times that you try to break when you're sprinting?
The 200, my goal is always to break 28, and then the 100 is low 13s.
All right.
That's
Good
my
for
goal.
you. Good for you. So soccer, though, is where your future is.
Yes.
Down at Longwood, and that's a process. I mean, first of all, I want to take a step back and just, for people to understand, we're not just talking Harper participating in a sport each season of her 4 years at Westwood High School, a varsity sport in each of the 3 seasons in each of the 4 years. So how daunting was that when you were, 14 years old to be a freshman at Westwood High School and say, like, all right, I'm going to try to make this varsity squad?
Yeah, it was definitely a lot at first, and actually I was a practice player on the soccer team for the first few days, or maybe even first week, I think. I was still doing gymnastics at the time, and I thought I could do both, but that certainly did not work because I was doing gymnastics like 4 hours a day, every day. So I soon realized I had to choose, and I chose soccer, and that's kind of where my soccer journey began, and that's when that soccer became my main sport, actually.
I've always been a believer in and a proponent of athletes not necessarily specializing, and you probably played a lot of soccer, but you also diversified, diving and sprinting. How did that help your development as an athlete, do you think?
It definitely helped a lot, and it gave me just perspective, especially doing diving. I had never stepped foot on a diving board until my freshman year, but there were so many great divers at the time. It was like Allie McCabe, Ava Perskanis. They were so good and such good role models for me. So I think that season particularly, I just learned so much, and starting something new was just a really cool experience.
Now, did you grow up here?
Yeah.
All right, so you grew up in Westwood. You came through the youth program. At what point did you kind of know internally, like, hey, I'm pretty good as a soccer player?
I mean, I feel like from a young age, I always really enjoyed soccer. But as I said before, gymnastics had always been my main sport. So it honestly wasn't until high school that I realized, I'm kind of good at this. Like, maybe I can play in college.
Which is what transpired, but that process is not easy, and I'm sure you didn't know much about it. People knocking on your door, sending you emails, making phone calls. What was that like for you? Because when you think about, I think I spoke with your parents recently, and they were talking about, it came down to a couple, and then she was maybe torn, and we went back for another visit. So to walk people through that journey.
Yeah, so my recruiting process probably started around my sophomore year. And it was most intense my junior year, and that was probably the hardest part because it's just a lot of waiting. You don't really know. Coaches will be like, oh, you're good, but we're not really sure yet, and I got a lot of that from so many schools. So that was really hard to hear for a really long time. And then eventually I had a few options, and I was weighing them out, and I honestly just wasn't happy with any of them. So I went back through all my emails, found a few schools down south because that was always my dream, visited them, and that's when I found Longwood, and that's kind of what sparked that interest.
So let's talk about Longwood. What is it about Longwood that stood out to you? Because it's not a place. Is anybody else from Westwood going there?
No.
Right, so you're on your own. So how did you narrow down your option to Longwood being the best one?
Yeah, it's actually kind of interesting because the other schools I was looking at were all in the north. They were like upstate New York schools. So I'd always wanted to go south, though, as I said. So when I saw Longwood, one, I really liked the place and the town that it was in. It was very rural, and that was kind of something I've always wanted. Like, the culture there was just super cool. Another thing that really, like, stood out to me was the coach. He was super welcoming. And then I got to talk with a few of the girls before I committed, and they were all super nice. So that was really good to hear before I made that decision, and that was kind of what led me there.
And when did you make the decision?
I committed a bit after the 4th of July, I think.
Okay, so you go into your
Last
senior year knowing, like, okay, as long as everything goes well,
Yeah.
I can check that off.
Yes.
So how
Yeah.
much of a relief was that to know you could do your senior year and you had your commitment wrapped
Yeah,
up?
that was probably the biggest relief of my life, to finally be done with that. It was just such a long process, and especially my junior year, I was gone almost every single weekend doing something for soccer, and that was just very draining, mostly mentally for me. So that decision was this big sigh of relief.
You know, you mentioned Ava and Allie as divers that you learned from. I would argue that the class of 25, you were surrounded by great athletes.
Yes.
And you ran with some great runners, you played with some great soccer players, but even people in other sports had to inspire you in some way. What was that like to get some inspiration from some other athletes in the class of 25?
It was really great, especially my soccer team. In our senior year, all 6 seniors, we all played together since we were super little. So that was just a really cool experience to see how that like transpired over the years and how we all stuck through it together. And getting to play alongside them was so much fun, and that'll be what I miss most about playing soccer here.
And you put some great memories together. I mean, the one that
Yeah.
stands out to me, I watched it. I wasn't there in person, but I watched the broadcast of it when you beat Hopkinton. And I know that
Yes.
was kind of probably the biggest achievement that team had. Take me through that night. Just walk me through that day and how you ended up winning that game.
That day was honestly crazy, and it's kind of just like, it's just blurry in my mind now. I just remember how excited we were at the end of the game and the clock ticking down and realizing, like, we weren't up by just 1, like, we were up by 2 in the end. And so that was crazy. Like, not only did we beat them by 1, we beat them by 2, and they hadn't lost in so long. We hadn't beat them in forever. So that was definitely the highlight of my year.
Got to be very cool. So the transition over to diving, what do you like best about diving?
Diving is honestly just very different. I got to use my gymnastic skills a lot more,
That
which I
makes sense.
found really fun. And especially my senior year, that sport was the most fun for me because I kind of just got to do what I want, learn new things, because you can always keep going in diving. You can always learn a harder dive, so it's kind of up to you, and it's very mental. So if you want to do something, you can do it. It's if you can visualize it, keep practicing it, like even after a hard fall. So my senior year, I really enjoyed that, and just teaching the younger girls too.
And then you end up on the track team, and you're surrounded by all of these incredible athletes who've already won a cross-country state championship. Some have won individual championships in the indoor season. Some of your teammates went on to win state championships in the outdoor season. That must have been pretty cool because you're not the one who everyone's pointing at saying, like, Harper, we need you to step up and carry the squad. What was that experience like for you?
That experience was so cool, getting to train among like some of the best athletes in the state. Like, that's something you don't get to do every day. And every single year there were always a group of girls that were just so good. So getting to learn from them, even when I was older than most of them, like, that was a really cool experience. And they're all such great people. Some of my best friends are from the track team now, and that was honestly the sport that I was like, I'm not really going to enjoy this that much. Like, I'm not a big runner. But by the end of the year, or by the end of every year and every season, I always came out of track with the biggest smile on my face because I just met the best people there, and that were such good athletes as well.
Yeah, it's a good crew. There's no question about that. So you obviously had to report to college early, and that goes with being an athlete, a fall sport athlete. What is your expectation, or what do they expect of you at Longwood?
I'm definitely a bit nervous for preseason, but I'm also super excited. I've met all the girls in my class, and they're all super nice. So definitely a lot of running in preseason, games pretty early on, but I'm super excited to see where my journey takes me there.
Okay, so take me through, and for those who are listening who don't know, your position, and what do you think sets you apart as a good athlete on the pitch?
I play center back, and I think something that sets me apart is my presence and calmness on the field. It's something I've always been pretty good at, is in big situations, just being calm, focusing on the next thing, keeping everyone settled down in like really intense games. Yeah.
It's the next chapter. And I say that to you because this whole issue in September is about the next chapter and people turning the page and beginning their next journey. So it's a very clear example for you. As you think about the next chapter, what lessons do you take with you that you learned in Westwood that you think will be applicable at the next level?
I think definitely I learned so much in Westwood about leadership and how to lead both on and off the field in any sport that I've done. Being a good role model, and when you're younger, learning from all the upperclassmen, they always have so much to say, so much to teach you, and I'm ready to keep going forward.
All right, we may have already talked about it, but best memory as an athlete at Westwood High?
It was probably my freshman year when we beat Oliver Ames in our playoff game, and I think that one stands up to me above the Hopkinton game just because I was younger, and it's just super cool as like a freshman to get to experience something so big. Like obviously Hopkinton was amazing as well, but I think getting to know that I was on the field for that moment, and I remember being told by some of the upperclassmen like, oh, the girl you're marking is really good, like
no pressure,
no pressure, but this game, like it might come down to you. But I'm someone who loves pressure, so I took that in stride, and I ran with it in that game. I think it was Sophia Roberts who scored the game-winning goal, and then pig piling after that game was something I'll never forget.
Well, not a lot of people get 12 varsity letters, folks, and Harper Morrison is one of them. So congratulations on everything you achieved here. Represent us well at Longwood. We'll be watching, obviously, from afar. We wish you nothing but the best. Congratulations on being the Athlete of the Month. Thank you for taking some time to chat with us. And any last parting words for the people of Westwood as you begin your next chapter?
Keep on moving forward.
That is Harper Morrison, and as always, if you've got someone else you want me to have a conversation with, just reach out, send an email, tleyden@bestversionmedia.com. I'll find that person, have a conversation with them, and then share it with you right here on the Westwood Living Podcast Network. We escaped pretty unscathed here, like not a single siren and not a single Tresca truck going by. Not bad. Oh, we may have one right here. Nope, we escaped. That's the very latest from the patio at the library. With Harper, I'm Tom. Thanks for listening.